podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Networks, 200 stations coast to coast, on Saturday, July 25th, 2020. This is episode 1713. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast comes to you from TWiT's LastPass Studios. You're focused on security, but are your employees? LastPass can ensure they are by making access and authentication seamless, whether they're working in the office or remotely. Visit lastpass.com/twit to learn more. This episode of The Tech Guy is brought to you by Monday.com. Monday.com is a flexible platform to manage any team, project, or workflow online. Collaborate, plan, and track everything your team is working on wherever you are. To start your free 14-day trial, go to monday.com/twit. And by Masterclass, online classes taught by the world's greatest minds. Get unlimited access to every masterclass, and as a listener, you'll get 15% off the annual All Access Pass. Go to masterclass.com/twit. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte. We made it. We made it to July 25th, almost to August. Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy, and this is the 3 hours of the day of the week we devote to technology, computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography. We got your smartphones and your smart watches and all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo is my phone number if you want to join the fun. 888-827-5536. That's toll-free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. It's still toll-free if you use anywhere in the world. If you use that Skype out thing, you know what I'm talking about, the Skype out thing. And call that Skype out. Is it well known? I don't know. It's the thing that lets you call regular phones from Skype. There are other devices that'll do this. Anything that'll let you do a phone call to a landline should be free to call us because it's a free landline. If you know what I'm saying, if you could dig where I'm coming from. And that phone number is 888-827-5536. Now, I should also mention there is an excellent website. I say that even though it's mine, associated with the show. And it's a good thing to know about because that's where everything goes that I talk about. So you don't have to write anything down. You don't have to pay attention to what's going on because it's all there, and that is techguylabs.com. And I have an official scribe who is, as I speak, writing it down. Mr. James DeRuvo, sir, Esquire, James DeRuvo, Esquire, keeping track of all that. 8888 Ask Leo, website free, no sign up, no gatekeeping, none whatsoever. techguylabs.com. Please avail yourself of that if you would. So Wednesday's going to be interesting. The House Judiciary Antitrust Subcommittee, man. The House Judiciary Antitrust Subcommittee will have a hearing about big tech, at which we are going to see some big tech guys. The CEOs of Apple, Tim Cook, Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, Amazon, Jeff Bezos, and Google, Sundar Pichai. That's the only thing not in there in the FANGs, FANGs, that's what the stock market calls it. Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, and Google. So there's no Netflix there. I don't think Is Netflix a... No, they're not a monopoly. Apple, you might not really know because they only do Mac stuff and iPhones. They're about half the market of smartphones in the U.S. That's not a monopoly. Facebook, well, there is no other Facebook, but they're not the only social network. Of course, they do own Instagram and WhatsApp, so that means they pretty much dominate three big social media categories: messaging, photo sharing, and life sharing. Amazon, not a monopoly, no. In fact, Walmart just started their competitor to Amazon Prime, Walmart Plus. $100, you get this, a year, you get the 2-day shipping and all that. So, I mean, Walmart's, just, Amazon's not 100%, but, it's powerful. And then Google, which does dominate, I think it's 80% of searches. It's not 90, 95. I don't know what the threshold for trust is, but it's higher than 80%. So these guys are not monopolies, even though they're going up in front of the antitrust subcommittee. They're really just very powerful tech companies. There seems to be some concern that these have become too powerful. What do you think? Are they? They're wealthy. They generate a lot of money. But that's because they're very successful, right? Facebook controls pretty much, I think, at least Mindshare controls social media. There's Twitters out there, yeah. Facebook kind of controls it. And I think the concern with Facebook is they have so much power. Well, don't they all? Not Apple so much, but Amazon, Facebook, and Google, lots of power. If it's not on the Google search, does it exist on the internet? Yeah, not really. Go how you find it. So that's a lot of power. Amazon, while they're not the only online commerce by any means, they're pretty darn dominant, aren't they? And they're rapidly getting more and more of the market share and more of the mind share. They're big. I think big is the only thing you could say about these guys. They're just big. Apple, big. Biggest, most valuable anyway, corporation in history of human endeavor. $1.5 trillion. But that's the stock market value. And part of that is pumped up because Apple keeps buying back its own stock. They invest billions and billions and they're buying their own stock, which increases their market value, their market capitalization, as Jim Cramer would say it. Market cap, P to E. I don't know if the stock market has anything to do with reality anymore. I don't. And I don't think honestly Congress has a clue about what to do about this. The Republicans will be asking them about bias, anti-conservative bias. The Democrats will be asking them about monopoly, too big, too powerful, too dominant. Both sides are worried about them for different reasons. But it's kind of the same reason for different reasons. Anyway, it'll be fun. It's always fun to watch primarily elderly congressmen try to understand this stuff. How do I get on the Facebook? Always enjoyable. Always a laugh. We had an event, I said I would talk about it last week, the Microsoft Xbox Games Showcase this week. That was Thursday morning, California time, afternoon, East Coast time, middle of the night in Saudi Arabia. But it was their Xbox Games Showcase. They showed a lot of games, including, by the way, the new version of Tetris. Whoa! The one thing I saw as I watched this is there's not a new idea in the world. It's like every game that comes out is a version of a game that's already out and successful. But that's fine. The real news of it was, we thought it was, they're going to show all the stuff, the new Xbox Series X, which comes out at Christmas, that new hardware can do. Because there's two new big consoles, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X come out. Holiday 2020. Whatever your holiday might be. And end of the year, late November, early December. That's kind of a battle royale. Two will enter, only one will exit. Well, both will exit. There's room for two. But PlayStation 5 has shown us this game, which we thought this would all be about, look at the amazing capabilities of this new hardware. It wasn't. A lot of the games are out sooner than later on Xbox One. But what was really interesting is everything we saw was available for a monthly subscription, a Netflix-style game subscription that Microsoft calls Game Pass. You pay a monthly fee. Not that much. I think it's, $15 a month? I can't remember. It's one of those hidden credit card fees you forget about after a year, and you say, I'm still paying for that, huh? And you get to play all of these games, and all of these new games will be on Xbox Game Pass. And I'm going to submit, they didn't say it, they didn't want to talk about it, but it will also be available on their streaming platform. What does that mean? Well, you don't have to have an Xbox Series X, a $600 game console or a big $1,500 PC. You can play it anywhere because the work is being done on the server, kind of like the web, where you go to a website, all the work of creating the website is done on the server, and then they send it to you. Games can do that. Google has a thing called Stadia, which nobody plays, but that's their version of it. Microsoft's has been codenamed xCloud, and they've been talking about it for a year or so. But it's interesting because here they are pushing this new expensive hardware platform and almost simultaneously working on this way to play games anywhere with anything because all the work is done on their servers, which incidentally highlights what Microsoft's real business is. And this is I think the real story of this whole thing is that Microsoft, which for the last 3 decades, their business was all about Microsoft Windows, and Microsoft Office. Those are the bread and butter, the moneymakers since the 90s. That's what made this the very valuable company it is. But 6 years ago, when the new CEO took over from Steve Ballmer, it was Bill Gates, he left. Steve Ballmer was there for, 10 years or something, for a while. He left 6 years ago. A guy named Satya Nadella took over. And Nadella came from an interesting part of Microsoft. He came from the cloud side, the internet services side of Microsoft, not Windows, not Office, where the princelings were bred. No, he came from the other side of the tracks, from the services side. Because he and the board and everybody at Microsoft realized the days of desktop operating systems are numbered, that the future's in the cloud. Someday, we will have some device, it won't matter much what, which will connect to computers in the cloud that will be doing all the work. And that's what this Microsoft xCloud gaming platform is. It's just for games. But this week, Microsoft also hinted that they were going to do something about that with Windows and Office too. It's I think for a lot of us old-timers, it's everything old is new again. It's the old model of a computer, in downtown, and you have a terminal connected to the computer, and all the work is done downtown, and your terminal is just a window on that. We're back to that. It's different these days, though, because widespread, reliable, high-speed internet. A lot of the computing that we do, a lot of the issues that come up if you're a Windows user are updates, keeping it working, crashes, data loss, all of that stuff, local hard drive failure, that kind of thing. All that goes away if Microsoft runs it all downtown, and you're just a happy camper. This is what business wants. As long as you provide me security, reliability, that internet can't ever go down, and speed, I'm happy. I don't care. The less I spend at this end, the happier I am. I mean, we already talk all the time about backup to the cloud, right? That's what we talk about all the time because the cloud is safer. And now that widespread internet is more reliable, that's where we're headed. That's basically what I took from Microsoft's announcements this week. And in fact, it didn't really matter if you're running Windows. You could do this on a Mac. You could do this on Linux. You could do it on Chromebook. Doesn't matter. You could do it on Android. Doesn't matter. That's the future. It doesn't matter what CPU or all the things that we used to care about. What's your how many megahertz you got in that box there? How many gigs of RAM there? Huh? That's a powerful box you got. It doesn't matter. I don't know. It's just a little terminal. I have 8 gillion gigawatts of power downtown, though. That's where all my power is, downtown. Interesting world. It's about to change quite a bit. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Your calls next. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I give you the unbreakable Kimmy Schaffer. Schaffer. She is our phone angel for this day. Hello, Kim.
Good morning.
Good morning to you, my dear.
How are you doing?
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't say that. Good morning to you.
Oh, are you not allowed to say dear?
Dumbo.
I prefer dear to Dumbo.
Good morning to you, Ms. Schaffer. How are you?
That's way too proper. Good.
Good.
Better than the turkey I saw run into the window.
There were 3 turkeys outside.
There were 5 turkeys that greeted me in front of the building when I got
I only
here.
saw 3. That's a bad sign.
It's a bad sign. So they flew away as I showed up.
Isn't that weird?
And one
I
of
saw
them
them.
went boom into the window across the street, and I'm like,
Oh,
what
boy.
was that? And you could see the window shaking, and I went over and
my.
checked up on him, and
Did it knock itself unconscious?
well, he's walking around, but he didn't try to fly away from me, so he definitely rung his bell.
It's like a cartoon outside.
I don't know if he hurt his wings.
The
or what.
wildlife is
I
back.
felt bad.
Isn't that hysterical? Yes, I thought I saw
I wanted
turkeys
to go
walk
help
by.
him, but he didn't want anything
Wow.
to do with me. So
Who should I start with here?
let's go to Joe and Bellflower.
Pick one, anyone.
Number 3, line 3, Joe and Bellflower.
Hi, thank you, Kim. Hi, Joe. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo. I'm just I'm on meetings with my buddies, and I'm doing the Zoom, and for some reason, I can't get the video. I don't know what
Do you see video at all?
I see my buddy's video, but
Not yours.
not mine.
And you have a camera, I'm presuming.
Yeah, but I have a Lenovo laptop.
Oh, yeah, there's a camera in it. So the first thing to do is check the Zoom video settings and make sure that that's the selected camera. It'll say something like, Lenovo camera or built-in camera, something like that.
Yeah, all it has is Lenovo camera on
Yeah,
my,
that's it.
on the.
So make sure that's selected. Now,
Yeah, there's only one selection on that when I.
yeah, of course, because you only have one
Yeah.
camera. Make sure the camera is turned on. Now, some Lenovo's actually have physical shutters. Make sure that's open, and then.
How do you do that? I didn't know.
Well, look at the camera. You'll see there's a little thing you can slide back. If you have that, not all of them. Sometimes that the sliders on the lid on the top there's a little finger thing. Then also make sure that. You've got the camera turned on in hardware. There's a software setting for that, but you can just use the Lenovo. That's probably the best way to do that, the Lenovo app for diagnostics. In fact, the first thing I usually do is not try it in Zoom, but just use a camera app of any kind just to see if you can see the camera. You want to make sure your lighting is adequate. I think my guess is most of the Lenovo's now have security features that disable the camera. That's not a bad thing. Just make sure it's not disabled. The fact that you can see it means you have the physical hardware. Now, it could, of course, be the camera's broken. On Macintoshes, I always tell people to use Photo Booth. I can't remember what on Windows. I know there's something like that on Windows that will give you just a quick look at the camera. Chat room, what do you? I don't use Windows much anymore. What do you use Windows? What do you use in Windows just to see if the camera's working? Some simple little program. Probably, I'll come up with one. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Camera. Just type camera and search. Okay. Sorry to disturb you, chat room. Didn't mean to distract. Here's the hipster himself, Mr. Scott Wilkinson, on the Tech Guy Show. He is our home theater geek. Contributor at TechHive.com, joins us every week to talk about big screen TVs, surround sound, and all of the above. Hey, Scott.
Hey, Leo, how's it going?
Your time is now, man. We're all watching a lot more TV than ever, aren't we?
That's for sure. That is for sure. Tons of streaming, tons of over-the-air. In fact, I got an email here I wanted to share with you.
Yeah.
From T.O. Potts, who asks a couple questions about over-the-air. Or OTA television. He says, will the FCC continue to reclaim OTA bandwidth? They've been auctioning off a bunch of bandwidth and in fact reallocating the spectrum, the radio frequency spectrum. And people have probably, if they watch OTA, OTA, what that means is you've got an antenna on your roof or maybe rabbit ears in your house.
Over the air, OTA.
Over the air or terrestrial. It's also called terrestrial broadcasting. It's a transmitter on the nearby mountain.
The way we used to do it.
The way we used to do it.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
And it's still available. And 10 years ago, was it? Not as long as 20, maybe, something like that. We transitioned from analog broadcasting to digital broadcasting. And that transition took a while, and it was kind of fraught with this and that. You had to buy a converter box if you had an old TV and so on. Now everybody has digital broadcasting, which is technically known as ATSC 1.0. ATSC stands for Advanced Systems Television Committee, Advanced Television Systems Committee, ATSC. Now we're in the transition to ATSC 3.0, which is the next generation of digital broadcasting. And you might go, well, wait a minute, what happened to 2.0? Well, they were working on that, but then they sort of jumped over it. It became obsolete before it was even deployed. So they said, okay, well, we'll go to 3.0 and that'll be the next one. And as a result of that, the FCC started reallocating spectrum and allowing and wanting to auction off spectrum for other things like cell. 5G is coming up, and they wanted the radio spectrum for things. So they started reallocating frequencies for television stations, which was called the channel repack. That's what it was called. And he asks, and this guy, T.O. Potts asks, will the FCC continue to do that? And the answer is no, it's already done. Uh-huh. This month was the time when if you were going to shift your television channel, your physical channel as it's called, it has to be done by now.
You might have seen all the ads on your local broadcast station saying rescan, because you'll have to. This channel will still be the same. It'll still be channel 7, or whatever. But you'll have to tell your TV tuner to check and find it because it's at a slightly different frequency.
Different frequency.
Yeah.
Correct.
What does channel 7 have to do with the frequency? Nothing.
Nothing.
Okay, it's good to know.
Nothing at all.
Okay.
So this next question is, will Internet Protocol Television, or IPTV, replace over-the-air?
We call that over-the-top, or OTT.
OTT, correct.
Because it comes over the top of your Internet connection.
Yeah, exactly. And this is actually a very interesting question.
Yeah, because we see Peacock just launched the NBC effort.
All these
HBO
networks,
Max. Yeah.
Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Warner. Warner, I guess, did one. You mentioned at the top of the hour, Walmart. A lot of people are getting into the OTT business. So what's the point of OTA, over the air? Well, it's free for one thing. You don't have to pay for the app or a subscription.
Although, Plex just launched a bunch of 80 free ad-supported streaming channels for free. So there are like Pluto and others that are free with ad-supported, kind of like your old over-the-air television.
Kind of like, yes, exactly right. So the question is a very good one. Will IP eventually replace OTA? Well, one of the things that ATSC 3.0, this new over-the-air standard, has added is IP capability. So it actually has internet capability in a broadcast way. You can actually broadcast internet data, IP data, over this over-the-air.
Okay, this really sounds like a last-ditch attempt to stay relevant by the broadcast networks. And channels,
that may be.
Oh, we got internet too. It's one way, but we got it.
It's one way, and it's only 25 megabits.
How do you do the interactive stuff? You have to have
an internet
connection.
Exactly.
Oh. They've been doing this, by the way, for decades, at least 30 years. I remember interactive television. They rolled it out in Florida. Mm-hmm. They were hoping people would, do all of this stuff, the message, do all the things we do on the internet, but through your television networks. Turned out mostly what they did is buy stamps. So it was a flop. Right. It was very, very expensive, and it was a flop. I think I'm going to make a prediction here. ATSC 3.0 flop city.
Well, we shall see. It's now currently deployed in 10 markets around the country.
Oh, that tells you right there. Do any of the people in those markets know that that it's here? Congratulations. Yeah. You need a new receiver, right?
And you need a new receiver. That's correct.
Or a new TV.
Only LG, I think, and Samsung are offering TVs this year for the first time that have ATSC 3.0 tuners in them. You can also buy an external tuner. Silicon Dust has a Kickstarter campaign to fund their standalone ATSC 3 receiver box. And it's already got more than 10 times its goal on Kickstarter. So people are interested in this.
Sure, because not everyone has internet, for one thing.
Right.
And a lot more people who have internet don't have enough speed to watch good quality television.
Right.
So, and over-the-air is free, which is nice. I don't think people care that much about the interactivity, to be honest. I think they never have, but...
Well, that's true, and it's really more for the broadcasters. Well, one good thing about it is this system called Advanced Warning, AWARN, which will send you over the IP part of ATSC 3.0 a warning very specific to your area. So if a chemical train derails in my neighborhood, I'll get a warning about it, but the people in the 2 cities over won't, because it doesn't affect them.
And we also have cell-based versions of that as well.
We have cell-based versions of that as well.
But you want to reach everybody if you can. So.
Well, that's also true.
Yeah.
So his final question is, will OTA television even exist by 2030 in the next 10 years?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to go away. I just think it's going to be less and less important.
Right.
There will still be plenty of people who don't have internet or don't have sufficient internet, so they'll be watching over the year.
And in fact, according to my friend Mike Heiss, who I talked about of these questions with last week, the pandemic has in fact increased antenna sales.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, because it's cables. The one threat to cable is the fact that they keep raising the prices.
That's right.
And in fact, some of that's because broadcast channels are charging more to the cable companies for carriage.
That's right.
That's why YouTube TV just had a big price hike.
Yep, afraid so. And,
honestly, I think people are going to tire of it all, and they're just going to get Netflix and say, that's it.
Well, goodbye. Yeah, but these, if you want to watch this show or that show, you have to buy this app or that app subscription. It's going to be expensive.
It's crazy.
It is.
It's crazy. I think a lot of us just watch whatever the heck is on. Right? I mean, that's ancient history. You pick up the remote control and you channel surf. That's what
everything old is new again.
Scott Wilkinson, home theater geek. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. All yours, my friend.
Thank you so very much. Uncle Bick says, will OTA still have the best quality? And the answer is probably yes. Unless
you can't do 4K OTA, though, right?
Yes, you can. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to mention that. Because you can doesn't mean they will. But ATSC 3.0 does support 4K and HDR, high dynamic range. So it can do it. But just like the digital transition back in the early 2000s, just because people could do HD didn't mean they had to, and not everybody did. Some broadcasters instead packed as many standard def channels into their bandwidth as they could. Eventually, I mean, we still have very wide range, high definition, over-the-air broadcasting. But I think the same thing's going to happen here. Are we going to get 4K? Eventually, maybe. But it's going to take up a lot more bandwidth, and they're not going to be able to cram 2 or 3 or 4 or 6 or 10, however many channels into a single OTA channel. I believe it's still 6 megahertz. Mike, am I right about that? I believe OTA channels still have a bandwidth of 6 megahertz. So you need to, the more you cram in there, the lower the quality is going to be. So you can either cram a bunch in there and have a lot of things to offer people, but at lower quality. Or you can have a few things or one thing at 4K HDR, really high quality, but it's only one thing. It's only one programming stream. So broadcasters are going to make their own determination on that. Joe asked, does it support Dolby Vision? That's arguably more impactful than 4K for many. That is absolutely true. It is more HDR generally, high dynamic range, is much more impactful than 4K. And as Mike pointed out to me in our conversations last week, they're more likely to implement HDR than they are 4K. And Dolby Vision, I kind of doubt. We're going to see what's called HDR10 or maybe HLG, which is the other. There are three basic formats of high dynamic range: HDR10, HLG, hybrid log gamma, and Dolby Vision. And hybrid log gamma is intended for broadcast. So we may see more of that, but it's really intended more for live broadcast, like sports. So scripted pre-recorded content may still be HDR10. I don't think we're going to see Dolby Vision that because Dolby charges a fee for that, and broadcasters probably don't want to pay that. I don't know. We'll see. Tokyo Tony, do you think 3.0 will be protected by DRM, digital rights management? I currently record 1.0 on my computer without issues, and it lets me cut the commercials. Oh, yeah. You know, that's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. Mike Heiss probably does. In fact, he says, yes, bandwidth is still 6 megahertz, but you also have improved compression. Good point, Mike. Absolutely right. Instead of H.264, you now have H.265, which gives you the same visual quality using less bandwidth. So that's a very good point. Absolutely right.
Stick around for the top of the hour.
Oh, yeah. Happy to.
Good. Thank you. Did a little research on Lenovo laptops. In fact, there is a privacy setting, which I thought. So there may be a physical shutter on your camera that's up at the top where the camera is, a little slider that goes across it to turn it off. A lot of people want that kind of thing. In fact, remember there was an interview with Mark Zuckerberg at Facebook, and he had tape over his camera very visibly. And if the guy who's spying on us wants to protect his privacy, then maybe we all should too. Lenovo also has a software setting, as Apple will in upcoming machines. In fact, I think in Big Sur, but certainly in upcoming machines. The Lenovo setting, if you just launch the Lenovo app, or even you hit the Windows key and start typing camera or Lenovo, you can get the Lenovo app and then go to the camera settings, and you'll see at the bottom there's a privacy setting. Turn that off. No, I don't want privacy before you try to use the camera for Zoom or anything else. And you should be able to, if you hit Windows key camera, you should be able to launch a camera that'll quickly tell you whether your camera is broadcasting or not before you even launch Zoom. Get it all set up. I like to, when I'm going to use Zoom, or I don't use Zoom that much, but when I use Zoom or Skype or something like that, I like to do a test call, see what my audio sounds like, see what the picture looks like and all of that stuff. I don't think Zoom has a test call. But Skype has a test audio call, the Skype call testing service. And I always do that just to make sure my mic is on and working and clear and all that stuff. That's the old radio guy in me. The Zoom should have like a little test call where you go on a fake thing and they record it, and you could see what your audio and video looks like to other people. All you can do is do it in the settings, but it's not quite the same, you know. That's what I like about the Skype call testing service. So you call it says, hello, this is the Skype call testing service. And then you just start talking to I call her the Skype lady. You just start talking to the Skype lady, and then it goes bing, and it plays it back for you. That's what you want, because you can't tell the local video and the local audio is just the local video and audio. You can't tell what it looks like to other people. So Zoom needs a little thing where you just kind of record, hello, this is the Zoom testing service. Please say hello. And it goes beep, and you talk, and you wave, and you dance around, and then it plays it back. I think that would be really useful. Somebody should make that. You could do that. Just have a a Zoom server sitting there. Anybody can call anytime. Let's get back to the phones. Anyway, that's the Lenovo story, our last caller. Our next call, moving on to Vince in Covina, California. Hi, Vince.
How you doing, Leo?
I'm well. How are you?
Great.
What's up?
Just had an audio question more than a video. It has to do with my, I have a Sansui 9090 DB. You ever hear of that one?
No, what is it?
Are you kidding? This thing was made in 1976. It has like 125 watts per channel.
Oh, it's a Sansui receiver. Got it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, the receiver.
Yeah, I didn't know the number. I know the name Sansui. Okay, it's a receiver. Yeah, nice.
And since then, I put it away. I had it like not using it for over 20 years, and it's still in real good condition. And I was thinking maybe I could still use it, even though now I have a Pioneer Elite. But the 9090, I was thinking of maybe somehow using that for the towers.
I'm on a website, I love this site, classicreceivers.com, where they say, oh, the 9090, look at that wood. It has a wood case.
Right.
Yeah. I'm just looking at the outputs, because that's going to be the trick. Of course, this comes from a day and age when everything was analog. That's not a problem. Your speakers are analog. What the problem is the source. So what are you going to be playing back? You got a turntable?
No.
Cassette player? 8-track? What are you're going to be? You want to play it on your TV?
Yeah, I was just streaming stuff, but I just thought.
So what you have to do, you can do it. What you have to do though is get another device that will take. So most streaming devices have HDMI out, right? That's video and audio combined. It's in a digital format. You need a device. We call it an AV receiver, actually, where it takes the HDMI and doesn't care about the video part of it. That's going to pass. It'll pass that through the TV, but takes the audio and extracts it. And actually, you can get a device that will take the audio and extract it to an analog output, which you could then put into your Sansui.
Okay.
You know, it's not. It's an. Maybe Scott's still here. Scott, have you ever heard of such a thing that would take a HDMI input and put it out as an analog that you could then use?
Yeah, I have.
He has the same reaction I do, which is
it's
called an AV receiver. It's kind of replaces the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the caller said something about wanting to use it to power his rear speakers or something. I didn't quite get that.
Well, he's got it at Pioneer Elite, beautiful plasma TV,
right.
No longer made, but gorgeous.
Oh, the TV is, I thought he had a Pioneer Elite receiver.
Well, tell me, is it a receiver? I assumed it was.
Oh, no, it's I have the Pioneer Elite audio video, the amp.
You're right. It's an amp. Okay, I apologize.
So I wanted to add the Sansui, since it's a lot of power for the...
so you don't care about TV at all. You just want the audio.
Yeah, I mean, just that way I can get the power of the Pioneer coming through the tower speakers.
Got it. Yeah, I get it, because that's a powerful amp. It's 100 watts per channel.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
Well, the Pioneer probably has analog line-level outputs.
So there you go. So whatever can go into the Elite, the Pioneer... I presume that has digital inputs, optical or something.
It does.
Then you can take its output and put it into the Sansui and use the Sansui as an amplifier.
Correct.
Sounds good. I just, it's funny. I got this Sansui. It sounds like I might not be able to use it, but it's kind of like a relic,
Yeah, 125 watts per channel.
Yeah.
8 ohms. 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz.
Yeah.
It's got Dolby FM, kids. You can play back not 1, not 2, but 3 tape decks. You got record, calibrate, tone. This is great. This is classicreceivers.com.
Classic.
Yeah, use it. It's an amp. If you use it as an amp, absolutely.
Yeah,
you just need an analog input.
The preamp outputs from the Pioneer
right
into one of the inputs on the Sansui, and you're golden.
So I just wanted to ask Scott a quick question too. This amp, for some reason, people really like it, the collectors, and it sounds better. It doesn't, like a lot of amps today say they're 100 watts per channel, but this one
It's true.
Power supplies are huge.
Yeah.
And I think somebody said it's a high current amp. That's why I think the difference is it sounds a lot better too. Could that be?
It could be. It could be.
It's got a lot of headroom, so you're not going to clip.
It pushes a lot of current through.
Yeah.
So
it's 125 watts per channel at 8 ohms. I mean, that's a beast.
Yeah.
So I think I'll keep it then and just maybe hook it up to my voice of the theater cabinets I got.
Listen to him.
Smokes.
That's why you need that.
I did that in the olden days, but then when the newer amps came out with all the all the settings, this Pioneer don't even have not the Pioneer, the Sansui, and have a remote control or anything.
No, it's an amplifier. Treat it as an amp.
I wanted to take advantage of the power, though, but that's okay. The Pioneer has plenty power, right? So,
right, exactly. But it's a newer amp. It's probably a digital amp. The Sansui is an analog amplifier through it.
You know what's awesome? You're going to listen to that Eagles album, and it's going to sound exactly the same way it did in 1976 when it came out.
There you go.
Yeah, man.
I would get a turntable, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially, man, those Altec Lansings. Man, those are great.
Yeah.
It goes out of the, blow the dust off and see if they still work.
Oh, I bet. The only thing is if the paper dries out, you gotta be careful.
That's right. Or the surrounds, the rubber surrounds.
Yeah. Hey, it's great to talk to you. I'm dumb. You said audio, but as soon as I heard Pioneer Elite, I thought you wanted to drive a TV. I was not paying attention. Thank you for correcting that, Scott. I appreciate it.
Hey, no problem.
All right. See, it's nice we keep Scott around. It's just in case of calls like that.
Yeah, man. Altec Lansing, voice of the theater speakers.
Those were in theaters. They're giant, right? They're cabinets.
They're gigantic.
So
they take up
cool.
your whole living room.
So cool.
Yeah, but very cool. Very cool.
I hope they still work. You can get there. People recondition those.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Put a little.
There used to be. I'm really sad. There was a place here in Burbank called Speaker City that was really cool. Really a cool store, and they would do speaker repairs. They're no longer there. They went out.
Well, it's got to be a diminishing business.
Yeah.
It's a shame because stereo, analog, good quality amp, good quality speakers, there's nothing like it. Fills the room. It's the real deal. It's great.
It is. Yeah, it is. No doubt about it. Somebody in the chat room said, yeah, just spend another 10 grand or 100 grand and get a fully refurbished reel-to-reel tape deck.
Yeah. What's the first thing you'd play on there, man? I'd play Life in the Fast Lane.
Right, exactly. That thing had, the Sansui he was talking about has 3 tape loops.
No, I was kidding. I think it's only 2. Yeah.
Still. Receivers don't have any tape loops anymore.
Oh, not anymore.
Yeah.
No, it's exactly what it was $800, $900 at the time, which was a lot of money in 1974.
Yeah.
That was real money.
Yeah, but it was, as you say, it was built like a tank. It was probably 125 real watts of power.
Yeah, that's the thing. Not tubes. I mean, I'm sure it was solid state even then, but
probably, yeah. Yeah, because tubes wouldn't give you that much power.
No.
Not
for a reasonable size.
Yeah. Audiophiles get these tube amps that do 5 or 10 watts, which, believe it or not, is actually okay if you have a sensitive enough speaker. Most of the time, virtually all of the time, with very few exceptions, you're only using the first watt or 2.
It's just the headroom.
Amp's power. It's the headroom.
Yeah,
precisely.
So this has a massive heat sink on the back of it. I'm looking at it. Let's see. It's got loudness, tape play, deck 2, copy 1-2, deck 1, copy 1-2, deck 1, source, deck 2, copy 2-1. So you could. This is for
you can copy things.
2 tape monitors. Yeah, it's got its own built-in record calibration tone.
Oh man,
that's pretty awesome. Dolby FM.
Oh, Twisted Mister says Frank at Speaker City is now on San Fernando. Still
good.
in business. Oh, good.
Awesome.
I'm glad to hear that. I drive by the old location, and it's all boarded up and closed, and I'm thinking, oh, man, that's too bad.
Especially in the L.A. area, there's a pretty brisk business and getting these old, especially the voice of the theaters working again. And
sure.
Klipschorns, all those big old paper cone.
Yeah. Not to mention, I wonder how many studios anymore use Yamaha NS10s. Those are the little bookshelf speakers. I actually have a pair.
Or the Oratones. Remember those Oratones?
Like the Oratones. They were used to judge a mix, how it would sound on a kind of a basic crappy system. Yes.
A lot of people use those Oratones. I have, we used to always have JBL 100s in those beautiful old JBLs in the studios. That's what we'd use. And I bought, you remember this, I told you about this years ago. JBL made a homage to it with the same foam kind of in cubes on it. And I have that in my bedroom. Yeah. It's great. But I remember, man, sitting in the radio station with those JBL 100s cranked all the way. Those were the days, man.
Those were the days, man. Oh, man. My next, on the other end of the spectrum, I'm just about to get a pair of headphones in for review for Tech Hive. Focal. Have you heard of Focal?
Yes, I have. I've heard very good things about Focal.
Very high end.
Yeah.
These headphones are probably a couple of grand.
Yeah.
They're really expensive.
Yeah, who was telling me that those are really good? Yeah, somebody I respect. Probably Patrick Norton. He's all into the headphone thing.
Yeah. I've run into Patrick once in a while at trade shows.
Yeah.
In the audiophile section.
Yeah, he totally is.
Yep.
Totally is.
Not this year. And also, I'm so sad to say, my wife and I had a reservation at Esalen in October, and that just got canceled. No hot tub for us.
Too bad. You do seem like the Esalen types. I could see you there.
Definitely.
Wandering around in the nude.
Type. Yes, out there in the nude, in the baths.
Oh, look it. They re-released the L100. What?
Did they?
Yeah, they even got that foam on it. Oh, my God.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
You still have the ones you bought?
I have the little fake one. The little, it's just a little desk thing. But I would buy some L100s. What?
How much are they?
You can buy them on eBay. They call them bookshelf speakers, but you'd have to have a hefty bookshelf for this. They're like 2 feet, 3 feet tall.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah, they're pretty big. They're pretty big.
JBL L100s. 12-inch. Well, I guess 12 inches isn't that big. Three-way bookshelf speaker.
12 inch in their longest dimension?
I don't know. Okay. Oh, man.
Ported bass, okay.
Ported bass, yep. It's the best-selling speaker in JBL's history.
Mm-hmm. And what, have they re-released it?
They re-released it, yeah.
Oh.
I want one. Find a dealer.
They're passive, right?
Oh, yeah, they don't
have a built-in amp.
No. Are you kidding? You have to hook up your Sansui. They still have, I should show you these. They still have the foam on it. And I remember one of the problems with the foam is it would dry out. It would get all crispy and it would kind of shed. I wonder if they fixed that, right. Or if in honor of the originals, they kept that
same kind
flaw.
of foam.
I loved the sound of those, though. They were great. But maybe because I didn't know any better. I was just a kid in a... So, this is what they look like. They're, that's the foam in the front. Except we didn't have blue. I don't know what that blue is. This was the classic orange was really the...
Yeah. The classic orange grill.
Recognize that? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and if you were, if you were fancy, you'd take the grill off. But, oh man, I want these.
How much are they?
I can't tell.
Oh, it doesn't say?
It doesn't say. You have to go to a dealer.
I mostly do powered speakers these days.
Yeah, of course. Who doesn't? Everybody does.
Well, in terms of reviews, anyway.
Yeah, I don't have actually neither one of my stereo systems has powered speakers, but everywhere else is Sonos. God, I'm so mad at Sonos, this piece of junk company.
Really?
Oh man, now I have to have two different apps depending on the hardware. Yeah. And nothing works. It's all I gotta go. It's just really frustrating. They just screwed the pooch. All right. Thank you, Mr. Wilkinson.
My pleasure. See you next week.
Oh, Regis Philbin passed away.
Oh, no.
Thank you. All right. Take care.
You. See you next week.
Well, hey. How are you today? Leo Laporte here. The tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smart phones, smart watches, all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. 8888 Ask Leo. Back to the phones we go. Brian on the line from Indio, California. Hi, Brian.
Hey, Leo. How are you doing today?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm pretty good, I guess.
Oh, you don't sound good. What's the matter, friend?
Well, I got a little problem with my Alexandria. I think you know who I'm talking about.
Alexandria? The one you say, hey, Alexandria, to?
Well, I've changed her name.
No, I'm glad you said Alexandria. Yes. I know who you're talking about, the Amazon Echo. That's what I say. Sometimes people, though, being smart, saying, well, if I'm going to listen to Leo, I'll have to rename Alexandria. And it lets you be computer, Amazon, Echo, or Alexandria. They change it to Echo, and then every time I say the Amazon Echo, that goes, what? What? You talking to me? What? So what can I do for you and your Alexandria?
Well, mine seems to be going through a change of life.
Change of life?
Its hearing is going bad.
Oh, how old is it?
It's a Gen 2. I got it when they first came out.
Yeah, the good news and the bad news is it might well be, dying. The good news is they have improved the sound quality dramatically on the new Echoes. And they have a broader range. There's Echo Dots. There's all kinds of Echoes. They put Echo in everything. So I would just take a look at getting another Echo. My suggestion would be get the cheapest Echo they have and hook it up to, we were just talking with Scott Wilkinson, a pair of powered speakers. You'll get a much better speaker, and you'll and then you'll spend less. The new Echo Dot is $60. Actually, they have one, so it's $60 with a built-in digital clock, which I think is kind of cool. And then $50 if you don't care about the clock. If you want a decent speaker, it's $100. All of these are third generation, so this would be an improvement, I think, over what you've got right now. Probably not user serviceable, I would guess. So, I don't know if there's a fix for it. You can start over, reset it. The other thing you could do is maybe keep the brains of Alexandria, but instead get her a new microphone or new speaker. They actually have it's going to have the brains built in no matter what. Come to think of it. Dr. Mom says you can actually get the Echo that doesn't have any speaker, even less, and then you hook it up to a speaker. I think you do better off getting your own powered speaker. You might even have speakers lying around, powered speakers lying around. You're going to do better off. Hey, words just come in, and I do want to mention this because he was a friend. I had the pleasure of working with him. Regis Philbin has passed away at the age of 88. He was a wonderful television talent, passed away yesterday. I worked starting in 2001. They called me from Live with Regis and Kelly. They called me right after the 9/11. They said, we can't get anybody to do technology segments. We'd like to do them. Can you fly to New York? This was, I think, October 2001. And I said, I would love to. That's when I first met Regis and Kelly, and did the show many, many times, more than a dozen times over the next few years, 2 or 3 times a year. One of the highlights of my career was teaching Regis Philbin to use Twitter. Actually, you can find that on YouTube if you want to watch. It was quite an adventure. He knew about Twitter. In fact, the show, this was, I don't know, when was this? Twitter started in 2006. This is probably 2010, 2011. He was familiar with it. The show had its own, social media director and all that, who tweeted for the two of them. But he wanted to use it. And I'll never forget, sitting down in his office, which was filled with Notre Dame memorabilia. He was a big fan of Notre Dame, and just exactly the office you'd expect of somebody who'd been in television for 50 years and had lots of memorabilia full of books. It was actually a great office. Sat down next to him. I said, "Okay, Regis, let's make your first tweet." And it was, in fact, the tweet that announced he was about to retire. He was about to retire. And so we helped him. I said, it's all on video. Again, you can watch it on YouTube. Helped him get it all set up. He wasn't real familiar with how a mouse or keyboard worked, even at the time. He was in his 70s at this time. And maybe might have been actually early 80s, come to think of it. He announced he would be retiring months later, but it was the big announcement. And he tweeted it, and I'll never forget his excitement when he started getting replies almost instantly. In fact, he immediately got on the phone to his wife. He said, Joy, look, they're tweeting at me. I'm tweeting. He was a gem, a gentleman, and a joy to be around, fun and funny, and not super techie, but I think some of that was a little bit of an act. What's a gigabyte, Leo? He'd always ask me, what's a gigabyte? What is that? He didn't tweet for very long. About 2 weeks later, he got tired of tweeting. But it was one of the real great experiences of my career, was teaching Regis Philbin to tweet on Live with Regis and Kelly. So he will be missed. He left in 2011. So that would be when this was, round about then. 10 years doing that show. I think I decided to retire when Regis retired. I did a few times after that, but I think part of the fun. I love Kelly. Kelly Ripa is great, super talent, still does the show. But it was an honor to work with somebody who'd been in television 60 years. Starting with Joey Bishop, remember that? Probably nobody even remembers who Joey Bishop was. But he almost made it to 89. He passed away of natural causes 1 month shy of his 89th birthday yesterday. Reg. What a talented guy, what a great guy, and he will be missed. And love to his wife Joy, who he really was devoted to. In fact, I think the real reason he retired, he wanted to have more time with his wife. Wife of 50 years. All right. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to bring anybody down, but I just wanted to mention it because he was one of my favorite people, non-techie people. Had a lot of fun with him and Kelly. Old Chef Guy on the line from Agua Caliente. Hello, Old Chef Guy.
Well, as long as we're in the Aldecocker hour, I will toss in, of course, Joey Bishop, the Brat Pack. Come on.
The Brat Pack. Yeah, I bet you a lot of younger people don't remember Joey. It was kind of the poor man's Johnny Carson, the Joey Bishop show. And Regis was the poor man's Ed McMahon, right?
And in that same category, I because it is the Aldecockers hour, I want to mention that I hauled around my Altec Lansing Voice of the Theater speakers with my Macintosh tube amp for almost 15 years.
Wow. Now, those Macintoshes, those are classics. And by the classics, not MAC like the Macintosh computer, but MC like the Apple with the tubes. And I don't know, did your tube amp actually show off the tubes? Because the Macintoshes I've seen, the tubes are right there. You can see them glowing.
You could see them glowing through the grid on the top, but this wasn't a display piece. This was just a workhorse of a beast.
Just the way they used to be in the good old days. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Yep. You could cook eggs on the top of that thing. It was totally crazy. It was unbelievable. And the worst part about it is you have to find a place to live where you can listen to them.
Yes, because they rattle the windows.
They were awesome. My neighbors mostly hated me. No, but they were awesome. They were amazing sound. Truly amazing sound.
What's that word, Aldecocker? I like that. That's good.
Aldecocker?
Is that Yiddish?
It's a Yiddish word. Aldecocker.
Aldecocker.
Scott. He would know Aldecocker.
I love it. Aldecocker. What can I do for you, old chef guy?
So the technical question is, do you think there is a shiny future where the Google Home listening devices will actually get upgraded to be smarter? Oh, boy.
Yeah, it's in a way, we were just talking about Alexandria. In a way, this has turned out to be a disappointment. In fact, a couple of years ago, when I was talking about the most exciting new technologies of the time, and this was maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I said voice. It's the first new user interface since the mouse. And I had really high hopes for voice interaction with technology. And at first, the battle between Amazon's Echo and Google's Voice and Apple's Siri seemed like it was vibrant, alive, a lot of innovation happening. And then it just kind of stalled out. Siri fell behind. Amazon Echo hasn't really added anything. When it took off at first with people were creating custom tasks for it and stuff. I think we ran into the limits of what those kinds of devices can do to understand us. And, of course, what we have is the template of this HAL 9000, right? The computer that you could talk to, play chess with, computer that was smart enough to turn evil in the movie 2001. We kind of want that. Or maybe you saw the movie, was it She or Her, I guess it was, with Joaquin Phoenix talking to the Scarlett Johansson in his ear. We want that. But it doesn't seem we've made much progress, has it? And what do you think?
Well, for instance, I'm in a space now where I have a Lenovo. I always forget what that was called, but the mini TV device. It's a Google Home device.
Yeah.
I have my beloved Google Home, the big one, which has really shockingly good sound for a box. I mean, really, I'm stunned. But part of the problem is, so if I walk into the room and I ask the Google Home to play something, then my phone asks me, my Lenovo asks me, everybody's talking.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's horrible. It just makes me want to throw them out the window, kind of.
Yeah, me too. It doesn't seem like it's made much progress, does it?
No. And I ask, this is an example of, this is why I'm with Elon Musk in the world of AI could be scary. I can ask any of these devices what the weather's going to be today, and every blank time I ask it, it will tell me where I am as I ask it. So it will say, oh, the weather in Agua Caliente, Federal Hot Springs.
I know. It's very frustrating.
Each and every blank time.
And even lately, which is really annoying, Google seems to say things like, would you like to know how to do additional stuff, right? It's like, no, I just want you to answer my dumb question, please.
Yes.
That's an excellent question. I don't know the answer. Obviously, at some point, it's going to get there. But we are right now completely plateaued and had been for a couple of years, where the great promise of these voice assistants has just really disappointingly let us down. And I if you ask me now, is voice one of the hot technologies of the 2020s? I'd have to say, yeah, could have been, should have been, didn't. So that's
sad.
Good. It's sad, and I don't know why. I think it's, we've seen this happen before with handwriting recognition, where it's hard. What we do, what we're learning. Face recognition. What we're learning is what we do, even as a 2-year-old recognizing its mother or its mother's voice, as a 5-year-old understanding what mom wants, even though we can only kind of partly hear her, or being able to read handwriting. What we do as humans, our human mind is amazingly adept. And it turns out it's not quite all of this about AI and machine learning and artificial intelligence. It's not intelligent. It turns out to be hard. I
implore Google, because I bet there are Google people listening, just give us the ability to name our devices. Come on.
Yeah, no, I know. That's the simplest thing.
Come on.
I know. And we could do it with the Moto X 5-6 years ago. And
I still have a Moto X that I love.
Can't do it now.
Yep.
Why not?
Okay.
I really feel like it could be they've taken their eye off the ball. I don't know. I thought Amazon was going to eat the world with Amazon Echo, and it's a party trick. Basically, it's a party trick. And that's it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because it's hard or because they've given up or what, but it's not.
Or they've wandered off like
Google has a very short attention span. We know that. Thank you, old chef guy. What a good question. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Have a good day. Our show today brought to you by Remote PC. By the way, the weather in Agua Caliente, California, 94932. Longitude 50663372. I forgot. What was the question? With companies, that's basically it, right? With companies going remote, employees working from home, they're going to need access to their work computers, and that's where Remote PC is so awesome, the best work-from-home solution out there. Partly because it's cross-platform. Access Windows or Mac, from Windows or Mac, or even a mobile device, anywhere as long as you're online. Fast, easy to use. PC Magazine gave it an excellent rating. They said, Remote PC is effortless with a simple interface and learning curve, fast performance, and users can easily transfer files between local and remote desktops. It's really affordable, too, less than $6 a month for up to 10 computers. Plus, they're always adding new features. I mentioned that Remote PC Vision a while ago. Now, Remote PC Meeting. This is a new video conferencing tool for secure online meetings, and it's free if you have a paid Remote PC account. I'm going to make that paid Remote PC account even more attractive. Right now, the Leo Tech Weekend Special, 90% off. If you use my name, Leo, go to remotepc.com. And this isn't just the first month. This is for the whole first year. 90% off. remotepc.com. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. More calls right after this. Hey, I want to talk about a new sponsor actually on the show. We're really happy to have Monday.com as part of our family. They make a really great product for anybody who manages a team as small as 5 people or 5,000 people. Monday.com is a team management platform that lets teams plan, manage, and track work in one centralized place. What's great about Monday.com is I don't have to get rid of all the other things I'm using. Slack, we use Google Drive, Slack, a bunch of other things. They all integrate into Monday.com, and Monday.com becomes my dashboard for everything that's going on. I always know who's working on what. I know what state it's in. No matter what industry, no matter how big your team, Monday.com is the easiest way to keep everybody connected and on track. And boy, with everybody working from home these days, that's a real challenge. You can't have your stand-ups, your quick meetings and say, what are you doing? Because they're all over the place. And you don't want to use Zoom for that. You don't need. In fact, you'll find you're meeting less with Monday.com. That's a great benefit. It's a project management platform that makes effective teamwork possible anywhere. It keeps everything you're working on in one place so you can plan, track, and manage. You can keep track of, you can communicate. You don't need the check-in meetings. Keep track of what people are doing. It's easy to set up. They have lots of templates, including templates that are designed specifically for remote work. So you get up to speed fast. And you can look at it in a variety, any way you like. You want a Gantt chart? No problem. Timeline, Kanban board. You could do a spreadsheet. It's got them all. We were really pleasantly surprised. We started porting our data in, and you can have all kinds of views of it. No code automation. So I didn't have to sit down and set stuff up. In fact, we were up and running almost instantaneously. The other great thing about Monday.com, they have consultants that will help you, onboarding specialists that will show you what you need to know, help you get started. Reggie was just fantastic getting us all up and running on Monday.com. Zoom, Slack, email, calendar, spreadsheets, whatever you use, it all goes in, and you can make data-driven decisions. You can track progress, timelines, and budgets. 100,000 teams are already getting things done with Monday.com. I think you should try it. In fact, we've got a 14-day free trial just for you if you go to Monday, M-O-N-D-A-Y, Monday.com/twit. Monday.com/twit. We thank them so much for their support of the Tech Guy podcast. Give it a try. I think you'll see it's a great way to get your team on track. Monday.com/twit. Actually, I wonder, for students, to kind of keep track of class projects, all of that stuff, maybe try it with the free trial, Monday.com/twit. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888, ask Leo. On we go with the show to Air Show Rob. Hello, Air Show Rob, the man with the biggest voice in the business.
Well, yeah, except this year, no air shows going on. But
we could do a socially distanced air show. They at least have a couple of meters wingtip to wingtip, don't they?
There's some folks are actually trying to do that with drive-ins, and there are a couple of places that have succeeded. But
don't they do drive-ins in some Walmart parking lots? I think it's such a good idea.
Yeah, not
I love
a bad
that.
idea at all.
Yeah,
you're looking healthy. I see you've tested negative for COVID and Facebook.
Yes, and Instagram. I decided, I even made my Twitter account private because I don't want somebody tweeting out like Bitcoin spam offers on my Twitter account. So I just think that it may be better to be off the social media. Wait, I don't need social media. I got you. What? This is media.
Yeah, and boy, that whole deal with Regis and doing live TV, working without a net is just incredible, isn't it?
Well, so I was just playing during the break, and I'll put a link in the show notes to this bit that I did with Regis in 2011, where I'm showing him how to use the Twitter. It was live. That's one of the things I loved about Live with Regis and Kelly was it was live, but Gelman got a hold of it and edited the hell out of it. No, but that's good because it took, for instance, Regis wasn't the greatest typist in the world. It would take him the 140 character tweet took him maybe 5-10 minutes to type out. One finger. It was so they sped that part up. There was a little editing involved there, but it was fun to work with somebody like Regis, who, I've been doing live broadcasting my whole life. I like live. I hate take two of anything. And so working with a guy who had always worked without a net, to watch Regis and Kelly backstage at the show, I was really privileged to be there. Oh, and I'm privileged to run out of time as well. Johnny Jett, our travel guru, coming up. Rob, you want to hang on? We'll talk.
Absolutely.
We'll talk in a little bit. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. You got me reminiscing. See what happened. So I'll show you.
Following you, so I'll get this. So space there.
They also added
a
lot of.
You can just say woo 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 whatever.
As they often
that would be
do.
A message only I would see.
They added music to it because we don't want to bore the audience at home. But I'll never forget, getting what a privilege, and I have lots of pictures to be backstage at the beginning of the show. I'd fly out the day before to do the show, and Gelman always wanted me to bring 100 gadgets, and just a ton of them. And the idea was the day before I'd set them all up. After the show's over, the studio's cleared. I'd go into the studio, set them all up on like 5 big tables, just everything had to work. And if it was an iPod, it had to have Regis's album on it. That was I know. I still own Regis's album because I had always put it on anything. And I'd set it all up, and Gelman would come in. He was a very talented producer. He'd come in, and then Marianne was my producer. And so he and Marianne would come in. Always very nice. Hi, Leo. What do you got? And I would lay out, and I would do 100 things. He said, not that, not that, that, not that, not that, that. And then he'd narrow it down to about a ton of things, like 40 things. And now, meanwhile, I've been calling all the companies, right, to get these things. So you got to then call them, you didn't make the cut. And then they're going to give you 2 minutes on the show. It depends. It all depends on host chat. So that's the heart of the show. Block one. Because Regis and Kelly would sit down with a coffee cup, and this was always the conceit of the show, and talk about the morning's news. Sometimes they do it for 20 minutes. Sometimes they do it for 40 minutes. And however much time you get is really dependent on host chat, the beginning. But I remember, and then the next day you come in very early because it's a 9 a.m. live show. And you come in maybe 7 a.m. You come in, you get made up. Kelly was always so sweet. She'd come into the makeup room and say, Leo, it's so good to see. She pretended she knew who I was. Oh, so good to see you. Give you a big hug. She weighs about 20 pounds soaking wet. Tiny, tiny woman. Regis, you wouldn't see him. He's up in his office. And then sometimes if I had a camera, they'd say, all right, you can go around taking pictures, because I said I need to load up the camera. And I have some great pictures of them, which I'll pull out.
I did a live show, part of a live show in Cincinnati. It was 4 markets live, 90 minutes, 5 days a week, and I was a singer. And we did the whole show live without a net, live commercials and everything. So it was, I love
Isn't
the
it
live
great?
You do.
The energy is so good. It's performance.
It's like an air show is live. I credit all my ability to do air shows because I did live TV.
Yeah, it's a performance. And I think for anybody who's in this business, always much more fun to do it live and real than, I later did the site on MSNBC, and it would take them all day to shoot a 1-hour show. And I felt so bad for Soledad because, okay, let's do that again, but do it a little livelier, or step over there instead, or, there was always a little, and then she'd have to do it sometimes 5, 10 times. And it's
like making a movie.
It's worse. I remember Lisa and I went down because the producer of Dexter was a fan. He said, come down into the set. I watched him take all day to shoot what was probably 30 seconds on screen. Every angle.
Oh, my gosh.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Anyway, Rob, hang on. Going to do Johnny.
Yeah, I'm happy to.
And I'll come back to you.
Sure, man.
Thanks. What'd you say, John?
I've been nowhere.
I've been nowhere, not going anywhere. I've been there. Ladies and gentlemen, he is our traveling guy. Look, it's kind of like being a manicure specialist during quarantine. There's just nothing much to do. Johnny Jet, travel guru, but he's still got a smile on his face. He's happy. We love him. JohnnyJet.com. Don't forget his podcast is there, JohnnyJet.com/podcast. He's got a great YouTube channel. He does 39 questions. I'm one of his subjects. You're still doing that, right, John?
I sure am. I just did Samantha Brown yesterday.
Love it. You talked to all these...
I haven't uploaded it yet, though.
How are the travel people feeling? Because they can't do it either.
Actually, that was one of my questions to Samantha. I was like, would you get on a plane tomorrow, and when will you fly again, or have you flown? She said, I have not flown, and I would not get on a plane tomorrow. And I know a lot of these big travelers feel the same way. That it's just, first of all, there's really nowhere to go on a plane. Except in the U.S., and you can't go to Hawaii unless you want to quarantine for 14 days. The Bahamas just shut us down last week.
I love the line I heard one of the newscasters do last week. He said, 51 years ago, Americans walked on the moon. Today, we can't even go to the Bahamas.
Or Paris. I heard another line like that. So we can't even go to Paris.
Can't even go to Paris.
So there's really nowhere to go, and it's just too much of a risk. So I don't want to expose my family or myself. I think people really should only be traveling if it's essential right now. And believe me, it pains me to say that because it kills my business. I don't have a lot of money coming in because of that.
But you know what? I looked and I saw Airbnb had its biggest month ever last month. People are getting in campers. They're finding a way to get out there. It's, for all the negative about beaches, it's safe to go to the beach if you socially distance. You're outside. The sun is shining. That virus cannot live there. There's plenty of stuff you can do.
Without a doubt. And I do recommend that. I'm just telling people to do staycations. Don't get on a plane unless you have to.
No.
We go to the beach. We don't go on weekends. We go when there's no one near us.
Yeah, we're going to spread
around.
And
we have a great time.
Yeah. And it's fine. And you're there with your fam. And they can play in the sand. They can play in the ocean. And I think that's fine. You know what? Unless it's a super crowded beach, you don't want to be within 6 feet of the other family anyway.
No, there's a lot of positives that are coming out of this.
I don't mind that.
If you're going to Disney
How about an
World,
Airbnb? If I were going to go, I was talking with a friend. They want to go camping. I said, I'm nervous about the shared bathrooms camping. Why don't you do an Airbnb? She said, how safe is that? I said, well, you'll get there. You open up the windows and doors, let the air flow, wipe down the counters. You're probably fine.
Well, they're supposed to give a day or two between stays anyway.
So it'll all, air out. And then
for sure.
And you can go walk around that place. You want to still do the same thing, wear your mask, social distance, but I think it's okay. I think it's okay.
We're going to do it. We're going to go up to the mountains. Yeah. We're going to go to one of the beach cities and rent a place. But actually, the big news this week, there's been a lot, actually. Speaking of, physical distancing, wearing masks. A lot of airlines and hotels have really doubled down. Southwest and American now have no exceptions for you have to wear a mask if there's a disability or if you have some kind of illness. There's no exception for them. For Delta, we talked about last week, you have to call and speak to a doctor virtually next to the gate agent. But also the hotels now, all the major hotels have now required guests to wear the masks inside the properties. Before it was just recommended. And they realize that people are not traveling. The numbers are just not there anymore. They were going up slowly since March, but now they just plateaued, and they realize that most people are afraid to fly. And one big reason is because of the face mask policy. They don't think people are wearing them enough. And now Disney World has cracked down even tougher. They're saying that, if you go to Disney World, a lot of people were doing a loophole by eating and drinking. There was a picture of Ted Cruz on a plane last week, an American. He said he was sipping his coffee, so he didn't have his mask on. Well, now they're saying you cannot do that. You have to do it quickly.
How are you supposed to drink your coffee?
Well, you take your mask off, drink, and then put your mask back on.
Somebody's got to do a mask with a straw.
Leisurely
Somebody's got to have. I saw somebody wearing 2 masks. One upper, one lower, and then just feeding themselves through the middle there. I don't know if that counts.
No, it doesn't count. I actually, there was a picture that went viral. I tweeted it last week where a guy just used a face mask as an eye mask, like that.
That doesn't count.
No, it doesn't count. And actually, I'm having a tip go out in my travel tip newsletter in just a few minutes where a reader asked me, can I just wear a face shield? And I contacted American Airlines because he said one flight attendant said it was okay and the other one said it's not. So I got the real answer. And if you want the answer, you got to sign up to the newsletter. How's that one?
Oh, you're bad.
But I do have a cool website and a webcam for you if you got time.
See, I can go right through the mask with my spoon. Yes, website. Yes, sir.
That should be your Halloween costume. You look like a mummy. That's great. All right. So check out this. I just tweeted it, but check out this website, windows-swap.com. I'll put it in the chat room right now.
This. I know this one. Yes.
So you can't travel right now for most people. But you can get a view of what their view looks like, and anyone can submit it. It's not live. It's a 10-minute clip of their house or their view from their house. So I love it. I think it's a great idea, and it's from all over the world, from Alabama to there's a place in Belarus, starts with a Z. I can't even pronounce it. Zloblin.
Yeah, I like
Belarus,
it because
not Belarus. Belarus.
Yeah, I like it because it's fun to when you go open the window at first. They say where it's, but if I try to think, where could that be? Oh, that looks like the Pacific Southwest.
It looks like Arizona.
Arizona, yeah.
Is it? It's up in the right-hand corner.
It's West Yorkshire in the UK.
Wow, the cactus threw me off.
Cactus.
And the palm tree.
That's obviously New York, New York. There's the Empire State Building. It's from the Long Island point of view. So that's fun. Queens, yep. That's Mumbai, and it's raining in Mumbai.
Yeah, you can sit there for 10 minutes. You can actually hear conversations because if you do submit your window, keep in mind that they do play the audio.
Yeah, people have music in the background, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I saw one with a cat in Doha.
You can't go to Honolulu, but you can look out the window.
Yeah.
Look at that. That's Waikiki Beach from a high rise. That's beautiful.
And then if you want something live, I got a live webcam for you.
Sure.
It's my favorite one. It's I just tweeted that as well. I copied you. It's bears in Alaska eating salmon in a river right now, and it's just insane. And there's usually a couple thousand people watching the video.
Nice.
I'll put it in the chat room as well so people can see it. Because it's not.
Don't worry, we put it in our show notes so everybody can see it in the show notes. That's cool. That's really cool. That's you call it the coolest nature webcam ever.
Yes.
Yeah, it's also at johnnyjet.com. There it is.
Well, I created the link, but anyway, you click that right there. That's a live cam. I don't know if the bears are out yet. They're usually coming out. Oh, there they are.
Look, there's salmon
fishing.
This is live. This is actually happening right now.
It's insane. And it's just like, I know why these bears hibernate for the winter, because there's so much salmon. They just grab it and they eat one after another.
Yep. They gotta beef up for the winter. Got to get that fat going.
But trying to watch these salmon jump over
not a bad
the
life,
walls.
Is it? You pig out in the summer, and you sleep all winter. It's a good life.
I hope I don't come back as a bear.
Oh, really? I don't know.
I wouldn't be a bear, no.
Doesn't sound so bad.
I mean, I'd rather be a bear than a salmon, that's for sure.
There's a good point. That's fun. This is at Katmai National Park in Alaska. The bears are actually, boy, there's quite a few of them. I see 4 in this picture.
There are. There's usually 4. And there's actually some more news this week, by the way. New Yorkers are now eligible for global entry again.
Hallelujah.
Remember we talked about that?
Yeah, they were kind of being
turned out to
banned.
be, it was all political.
Of course, didn't I tell you that? It was because there's sanctuary city and all that?
You did.
I tell you, I swear. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Follow Johnny Jet at johnnyjet.com. Look at the bears. They're so lazy. They're just standing there to see the salmon. All you have to do is you just reach out and grab one. Oh, there, yeah, there's a little bit there. Mm-hmm.
Well, they're kind of like dogs. You watch some of them just jump around and they miss.
They are dogs. They're just big dogs.
That's what they felt like, except you don't really want to get... He's got one right now.
Yeah, he just got one, the middle guy. They're raw. He likes sushi. They're not working real hard.
No, you don't have to work real hard.
You don't have to. Just yum. Mm-hmm. It's like one of those
way,
sushi conveyor belts. Yes, sir.
I did... you asked me a question last week. I did not know the answer. I'd say I do my research. I did my research. Sandals is open.
Yeah, I saw that.
Not every one of their places, and they are practicing, all the
they're cleaning and social distancing and all that. Yeah, I actually went after we talked. I went to the website just to see what they're doing. Yeah, because they're doing these ads, and I'm like, wow, they're really advertising heavily. Yeah. So
and
people
I got
can
another
go
question
away.
for you that maybe you know the answer to.
Yeah.
What is this? They sent this to my wife. She thinks it's for a face mask that has one of those nozzles, which I don't think you're supposed to use.
No, you're not.
Is it a filter?
Who sent it to her?
Some company sent a whole bunch of them. And I'm like, I have no idea what it is. She's like, I don't know what it is. There was nothing in the box. No note.
It looks like a face mask.
But she did
is
order
that paper?
Face
What
masks
is
that have like the little nozzle. I was like, maybe it's
yeah, it comes with that. Is it paper? Is that paper?
No.
It's like a coffee filter kind of feel?
Yeah, kind of like
a it's a filter for the face masks, yeah. But you shouldn't use them with the port there on those, because that's for breathing out, and it's doing exactly nothing to protect anybody around you.
Yeah, they say don't wear those. I didn't know that.
I know. I didn't either. At first, I was wearing my N95, the one you use to keep sawdust. I'll show you what I do. You've seen this. Have I showed you?
No. I can't see you, by the way.
So I make these. This is my new mask. It's just cloth. See, it's got a little flap, but that's because I ordered this custom fit to my face. Oh, I just pulled it off. It's a mask fitter, and it goes over the fabric to seal it where the fitter is, and it's molded to your face.
You created this.
Yeah.
Did you create the whole?
So the app is on your phone. It's called Bellis 3D. And then you order it. It's printed by the dental printer. So this is made out of fake tooth material.
How do you spell it?
BELUS 3D. And then you make fitters, so you could do it for the whole family.
I love it.
This is the fitter is just a plastic frame that fits your face. It's designed to fit your face. And then you could put that, if you just do a paper surgical mask, it'll work even. It'll work with anything.
So is it much more comfortable?
So you do the surgical mask, and then what the fitter does is it gets rid of those air holes on the side, right? Because now you're breathing through the mask.
Yeah.
And I wear that with a face shield, and I am Superman.
I wish I had that the other day when I went to get my annual physical.
Yes, exactly. This is, I think originally it's intended as PPE for dental personnel. Yeah. But it's it's $20 to get it printed. You can print it yourself if you had a 3D printer. But it makes a 3D model that the printers can then use, and it's modeled on your face. So Bellis 3D, you put that on your iPhone. You have to have a relatively recent iPhone. If you have Face ID, you can do it. And then it does a 3D model of your face, which you then send to the printer, and they send you these back. I have a lot of them because I wasn't sure how strong they'd be, but they're actually quite strong because They're the same. They're like tooth material. They're very tough. Thank you, Johnny. Stay safe. All right.
You too. Have a great weekend.
Take care. Bye-bye. Air Show Rob's still online. Thank you so much for being patient, Air Show Rob.
Absolutely. Well, I'm enjoying the show because I'm not working a show, and so I can enjoy this thing live instead of just the podcast. So that's always fun.
For those who don't normally listen to the show or don't remember, you do the announcing for air shows.
Yeah, all over the place. And this year had 21 shows scheduled, and there are 2 at the end of the season that have not yet canceled. Everything else did. So
somebody in the chat room said there is an air show scheduled in their neck of the woods. So
I'll have to check the chat because I'm not looking.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find it. I'll have to scroll back a little bit. But
Stuart, Florida might be one of those places. I don't do that show, but
yeah. So this is how you make your living?
Yeah. I've been doing it full time since 2006. So
that's awesome. AirShowNY.com. The Thunderbirds are going to still do a show. You know, you could do that in New York because they're just flying over New York City. You just look out the window. There they are.
Yeah, I think that's the one up in Stewart, New York.
Stewart. It's the New York International Air Show, August 29th through 30th.
Yeah, we'll see if it happens. Just depends. The Thunderbirds have had to cancel a couple because they got one guy on the team got COVID.
Oh, no.
They had to pull the plug on a couple of shows, even their annual one at Cheyenne, Wyoming. So, anyway.
Wow. Yes, I'm a fan of the Thunderbirds. As you know, I've spent some time. They keep trying to get me in that plane. Actually, it was the Blue Angels that kept trying to get me in the plane.
I have flown with those guys twice.
Never. I'm not insane. I'm not insane because they have a flight suit on. They know how to clench. I would just be passing out.
Yeah. I passed out, but that's okay. It's you come to and
they give you a video of you passing out. By the way, so that's fun. You want to see the video of when I passed out on the Blue Angels? Yeah. So what can I do for you today, sir?
Well, I've got QuickBooks 2020. I've been using QuickBooks forever. When I installed QuickBooks 2020 and then tried to send out one of the few invoices I've sent out this year in the last month, Google wouldn't let me do it, saying it was blocked, and it had to do with something about less secure apps. So I went to my Google, enable less secure apps, and it still doesn't work. So I don't know how to get QuickBooks to talk to Google to say, I want to email direct, because now I got to print it out, scan it, and send it off. So it's a pain in the butt.
So there's a link in QuickBooks that says mail this invoice. And what it does normally for you, and by the way, this is something you can change in the settings of your computer, but the way you have it set is when I click a mail to link, it launches Gmail. Is that right?
Yes, it asks for
and then Gmail opens up in your browser, not in QuickBooks, or no?
Oh, no, this goes direct, but if it would, I don't care if that's a cheap and easy two-step if it'd do that.
Yeah.
This goes direct from QuickBooks.
So I get it. So, yeah, Intuit apparently hasn't made a deal.
Oh, man.
With Google to do that. And maybe this is what actually happened. The first time you did it, you may or may not remember, what in all likelihood had happened is a window popped up from Google saying you got to log in and authorize.
Well, I don't remember that, but I can check that.
Yeah, so I'm thinking that expired. So one thing you could do is you could look at the Google authorized apps that you have said to Google, let this app interconnect. It's in your Google permissions. So, so if you go to myaccount.google.com, you'll see third-party apps with account access. And probably what I'm going to guess is there is an Intuit Quicken entry there, but that it's old. And what you do is just delete it. And then the next time that you did that in QuickBooks, it would say, you've got to authorize, and it would pop up this authorization login once again, reauthorize, and then you should be good to go.
Good. That's a help. It's interesting. I try to get in touch with somebody at Google, and I can't.
Oh, there's no one at Google.
Into it, and it's better to wait on hold for you.
There's no one there. It's easier to get me than it is to get somebody at Google.
That's right.
And it's not easy to get a hold of me. I'll never forget a call we got a little while ago. A woman said she lived in Irvine. She said, I just went down to the Google office in Irvine and banged on the door. I said, what happened?
I remember that. Yeah, I heard that.
It's like going to the Wizard of Oz. Nobody speaks to the wizard. No how. No way. It's like you can't go down to the Google office and bang on the door. They're not going to. So it's my guess that, and this is a pure guess, but that QuickBooks or Quicken did the authorization that way.
Okay.
You look in the Quicken settings, though, because there may be other things. You can in Windows say, it depends on how they do it, and I just don't know. Normally, you've seen this. You'll send us something. You'll see it'll be on a website. It says, send us an email. You click the link. That's a mail to link. What's underneath there is the word mail to : and then an email address and some information. That mail to link in Windows is associated with whatever your default mailing app is. You can change that in Windows. Now, that's if that's how the Quicken does it. I just don't know. So you can change, that's your default email app, so you can change that in Windows 10. I would look, if you just hit Windows key default apps, you'll get right to that section of the control panel. So it may be that.
Well, I'm a Mac guy primarily, so I don't have any email on this.
Oh, are you on a Mac right now?
No. I'm I've got a Surface Pro 4.
I see, just for the QuickBooks.
But I'm a Mac guy otherwise. So now I got to turn on a default mail app.
Yeah. So I would look in the QuickBooks settings and look at the mail section. So that's nice. They allow you to send an invoice directly from QuickBooks. They don't open up a third-party app. I suspect QuickBooks probably considers that insecure. They do it within QuickBooks. So my guess is you have to authorize QuickBooks with Google, and
wonderful.
That probably just expired, or who knows? So I would look in your Google authorized apps. It's under your myaccount.google.com. Delete QuickBooks if it's there, and then in theory you'll have to go through that whole setup again.
I can deal with that. Thank you, sir.
My pleasure. Much. Yeah. If you use QuickBooks on PCs on a Windows machine and you do this, this button to mail, let me know. I would guess there's a setting in QuickBooks that says how do you want to do this? It wouldn't normally just default to Google. Maybe the first time you did it, it said, okay, what's your email provider? So I'm not sure. And by the way, this is actually a good tip for everyone. Go to myaccount.google.com/permissions and look through this, because you know what? You've probably given permissions to a lot of apps to get your account. And you may not, I'm looking at one that says NVIDIA M. Darcy has full access to your Google account. Huh? Let me remove that. Huh? So you might want to go through and see, did you really want to give all a Castlevania Symphony of the Night? Yeah, I think I'm going to remove my some of my calendar programs. Yeah, I wanted to access Google. But if you don't recognize it, I don't know what Mark II is, I'm going to remove access. So I just go through those and remove access. You should do that on Facebook, Google, Twitter. All of these apps will let you authorize a third-party app to access your account. Not necessarily dangerous, as long as those are apps you know the app and you trust the app. Just remember, as time goes by, perhaps you don't want to give it access anymore. Our show today brought to you by the best thing in the world, Masterclass. I love Masterclass. I was just watching. It's a relatively new Masterclass. They always add new classes all the time. And I was just watching the best Masterclass on barbecue by Aaron Franklin, who, young guy, has the #1 barbecue in Austin, Texas. Central Texas Barbecue. And man, the thing I love about Masterclass, They're shot so professionally. They're so good. And you can learn almost anything. Now, if you're into food, like my son is, I was going to give Henry Masterclass for Christmas one year. He said, I already have it, Dad. They have the best. You could learn Mexican cooking from Gabriela Camara. Oh, my goodness. They have all the greatest chefs teaching how to cook. You want to learn negotiation, Chris Voss. You want to learn gardening, Ron Finley. My friend Steve Martin teaches how to be funny. You can actually learn that. You can learn how to act with Samuel L. Jackson. Man, one of the best master classes I ever took. Samuel L. Jackson breaking down a scene from Pulp Fiction with a couple of acting students talking beat by beat, how you think about it, how you do it. It's aptly named Masterclass. It's the best. And it's beautifully shot. They make them relatively short, which is nice. You can consume them, but there's many, many classes. They're about 10 to 15 in length, and then there might be 10 or 15 classes total. So there's downloadable materials in many cases. You can do it at your own pace whenever you've got a minute. And they are so well shot. These aren't YouTube videos. These are Masterclass videos. In fact, I'm going to log in real quickly to my Masterclass account. I am a proud Masterclass member, and just take a look at some of the classes I've been taking lately. They're so good. Masterclass.com/twit. Right now, actually, we have a great deal for you. 15% off the annual all-access pass. I think that's what you're going to want. How about learning tennis from Serena Williams? What? Yeah, I mean, every area, politics, the society, writing, Usher, Spike Lee, Martin Scorsese, Alice Waters, Thomas Keller, Dr. Jane Goodall. What is Dr. Jane Goodall teaching? She's teaching chimpanzees. If you love nature, she's teaching conservation. Every class beautifully shot. Robin Roberts just did a new class. That's a fairly new one that just came. Howard Schultz, Paul Krugman, the great Nobel Prize-winning economist. You want to learn about politics, David Axelrod and Karl Rove together. I can go on and on and on. This is how you want to run for politics? They talk about starting a campaign, assessing your candidate, researching your opponent, working on a campaign, the plan, understanding the electorate. I mean, this is real stuff. This is not fluff. This is Masterclass. Oh, I love Masterclass. Users give Masterclass an average of 4.7 out of 5-star rating. But if for any reason you're not fully satisfied, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee on the annual all-access pass. It is a great gift. It is great for yourself. Right now, we've got some time. Stop watching the dumb reality shows, Leo, and start learning. Unlimited access to every single Masterclass. 15% off because you're listening to the Tech Guy. Go to masterclass.com/twit. Masterclass.com/twit. Learn from the best. Masterclass. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smartwatches, all the tech in your lives, all that stuff. You know it's tech because it doesn't work, right? 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Sue on the line from O'Fallon, Illinois. Hello, Sue.
Good afternoon, Leo. How are you today?
I am wonderful. How are you?
I'm super. I have a comment on a young man you had on earlier. He had the old amp he was using.
Yes.
You would be surprised as to what I have hooked up to my computer for speakers. It's an acoustic wave machine from 28 years ago.
Paul Harvey for the Bose acoustic wave radio.
Well, I bought it when it's AM, FM, and then you had the music.
Yeah, and it sounds good, doesn't it? I bet it sounds really good.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
I bought it with the cassette player, and who has cassettes anymore? So I sat in the closet for a long time, and after my speakers crapped out on me for the computer, I went, I wonder if that would work.
Yep.
So that's what I have.
You spent a lot of money on that thing, I'm sure, when back in the day.
$1,000.
Yeah.
28 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, they still sell it. Of course, Paul Harvey famously did the, go page 2. The Bose acoustic wave sound. Yeah, I remember vividly. Yeah. Those were good. You know what they did? They did one thing that was really made them sound better than the average, clock radio or desktop music system. They ported the bass, so there's a hole in it. You probably have noticed for the bass to come out, and that actually makes the bass much better on that speaker. So that was their magic.
Well, I know it's big. It's about the size of a carry-on suitcase.
That's the other secret. You can't get good sound from small speakers. You just can't. You need to have a certain amount of size. Yeah. That's Amar Bose, the genius behind that, passed away a few years ago. He was really a brilliant engineer and did some very interesting things with Bose speakers. Yeah. He was a doctoral student at MIT when he started Bose. What can I do for you?
I have a question, a comment about ExpressVPN, which I started using because of you. Thank you very much.
One of our podcast sponsors, ExpressVPN. Yeah.
Okay. It does slow down my internet speed.
It might, because all VPNs are doing is running you through another server somewhere down the road. You'll get the best speed. Do you let it pick where you are? No,
I do it. But and it does. I'm in the Midwest, so Chicago is the closest. And then
I would let it choose, because it actually tests to see what the fastest responding servers are. And if you let it choose, you're going to get better results than if you manually choose. The reason they give you that choice, and many VPNs let you do that, is so that you can watch television in the UK or Canada or Japan or whatever. But honestly, the best thing to do with my experience with ExpressVPN, unless you're going to do that, is just push the button and let it pick, because it actually goes out and sees who's the fastest right now.
Is that a setting you have to change?
Nope.
I just, when it comes on, it's whatever I set it for the last time.
Oh, yeah. So maybe it is. That's actually a good question. Let me look at my ExpressVPN settings and see. Maybe that you do have to go in there. Most VPNs, a VPN is a virtual private network. Just we can explain what we're talking about right here, that people will use for several reasons. Initially, you started using it for security. You would be at a coffee shop or somewhere, and you didn't want somebody to see what you were doing on that insecure Wi-Fi access point. So you fire up a VPN, and now you're encrypted from your computer to the VPN server. And then you emerge into the public world. It also has a side effect. You're a little more private because you can't be snooped on by your internet service provider. And when you emerge into the internet, you're using the IP address of the VPN, which is kind of anonymized anyway, because lots of people use it. So it helps you be a little bit more private on the internet as well. And then the third most thing that some people do is use it to appear to be coming out into the world, not in Chicago, but in London or Tokyo, so they could watch content from those countries. So there's
I had to figure out how to set it so I could use my email, because it would determine I was in New York, so I wasn't on.
Yeah, sometimes you don't want to use a VPN because it will anonymize you, and like when you're doing email, they may in fact. They may have some opinions about where you are. I'll never forget logging into Facebook, and it said, "I'm sorry, you can't log in. You're in Cairo." No, I'm not in Cairo. What you want to do is use their smart location feature, and it will pick the best location, which will probably be the one closest to you. But it's doing it based on speed.
Yeah, I did change it so that it would disallow my email.
Yes, that's a nice feature. So you could say, don't do it with email, because I don't want to look like I'm in New York. Right.
And the other comment was I tried to log into the chat room before.
We block that. Now, that's one of the reasons we do that in our chat room is there's a lot of... Have you ever noticed that the internet has spammers? Ever noticed that?
No.
So there are people, because it's a public chat room at irc.twit.tv, who will come in there and spam or say bad words, and you get a 12-year-old in there goes, I'm going to say a bad word, poopy, 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 and so what we do is we have lots of ways of kind of preventing spam. One of the systems that we use on IRC, not everybody does this. We do it because it's a radio show, so we get more spam than the average bear. We just say you can't use a VPN because a VPN is used by people to anonymize themselves. Remember, I mentioned that second benefit. So that way we know you're you. So we just say don't use a VPN when you're logging in here. That's just a security measure. That's because it's sad to say, but there's bad actors on the internet. And I'm not talking Nicolas Cage. There's spammers out there.
So there's good things and bad things about it. And,
it's not a perfect solution.
What you're using it for.
Yeah, and that's really the key, is you're using the VPN for one of those three specific reasons. The good news about ExpressVPN, at least in my experience, and maybe it's because I'm near a fast node or something, is I often leave it on all the time because I don't notice that it slows me down. But if you're noticing it slows you down, then that would not be desirable.
Well, it depends on the time of day of the week.
Sure.
There, at midnight on Wednesday, I can get 250 megabits download from Spectrum. But today, I could only get 78.
That's still pretty fast.
And that was out.
That's still not bad. There are very few VPNs that will give you that kind of speed, and that's one of the reasons I like ExpressVPN. Most of them are a lot slower.
Yeah. It's a whole lot
so use their smart location for the best speed. And you know what? If you're only getting and I'm putting that in air quotes, 78 megabits per second, that's not that slow. That's pretty good for a VPN.
That's better than the 56K dial-up speed.
Yes, a little bit. Yeah, if you were getting 78K, okay, then I would say that's too slow to use.
No.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Hey, it's a pleasure talking to you, Sue. Thank you. Take care.
Have a good day.
All right, you too. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. And I like to give a disclaimer when we're talking about sponsors. ExpressVPN is not a sponsor on the radio show, I don't think, but they are a sponsor on the podcast network that I run. So just a disclaimer. So I don't take any responsibility for them. I don't have stock in them or anything. They're just an advertiser. But I happen to use them and happen to like them quite a bit. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. Let's go to Bob in Brea, California. He's our next caller. Hi, Bob.
Hi, Leo.
Welcome
I have
to the
a
show.
question for you.
Yes, sir.
Thanks. I have just found my Samsung N150 Plus netbook with an Atom processor and Windows 7 starter, and I have a friend that told me not to dare go on the internet with it.
Well, how was that even when it was new? Was it really a wonderful piece of hardware?
Yeah, it was fine. I just bought a new battery for it. It was $12. It's a knockoff battery. It works great.
Netbooks, in my experience, netbooks almost killed PCs because they were really cheap, right? This was the selling point. They were a little plasticky, but they were a couple $100. Yeah. And they had small screens, not great screen stuff. The problem is they didn't wear well, and I think a lot of people got a bad experience. And then what happened is it lowered the expectation for what you'd pay for a PC, and all of a sudden, you couldn't sell PCs for $2,500. You had to sell them for hundreds of dollars, and it almost killed the PC industry. It really changed people's expectations. The problem is these were always low and slow. That Atom processor is about as slow as you can go. If you're okay with it, go ahead and use it. Here's what your friend is talking about. Windows 7 has hit end of life. It did so earlier this year, which meant Microsoft was going to stop providing security fixes for it. So there are a number of known problems that are not fixed. They're fixed on later versions of Windows. They're not fixed on Windows 7 and earlier. So that means it's not unlikely that as you surf around, you'll go to a web page Maybe it's a normal page from a well-known company or a friend or whatever, but they don't know it, but they got hacked. And what hackers do is they buy these kits of exploits and they put them on the behind the scenes. And when you go to the website, you're using it like normally, but it's checking, it's probing your Windows to see if you're vulnerable to any of these things. Chances are you will start to run up against sites like that, and I don't know how likely it is you'll get hacked. At some point, that's the risk. And a hack could be everything from malware, ransomware, encrypting your system, to somebody, the worst case scenario would be somebody getting on your system and just sitting there without your knowledge, watching everything you do, looking for credit cards and stuff like that.
I usually just watch my eBay account and a few other horsing around things. That's basically what I use it for. I mean, I don't.
Yeah,
go on other things.
It's probably all right. Maybe a better thing to do, in fact, you'd probably get better performance, is to put a more modern operating system on there. You could upgrade it to Windows 10. That would have security fixes. I don't know if it would perform better because how much RAM does it have? Probably a couple of gigs.
I'm not sure. It works pretty good. I mean, I'm a computer amateur, but it's fine. I mean, I don't want to. I mean, it's a computer, right? If you stick to eBay, you stick to the sites that you're probably all right. eBay's not going to have malware on it. And how would I get Windows 10 in it?
What's interesting is when Windows 10 first came out, they had a 1-year-long deal where you could upgrade Windows 7 for free. And then they said, okay, that's it. Except they never turned it off. So you can actually do it inside the computer. You could say upgrade to Windows 10, and it won't cost you anything.
I'm going to give that a shot.
Yeah, it might be worth doing that. The other option would be, and this is for somebody who's a little bit more geeky, it would be to put Linux on it, which is a free operating system. That would also be secure and more up to date. And there are Linux designed for older systems like that, netbook, that would probably perform better than Windows 7 or Windows 10 would. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to say it's safe, but I wouldn't go as far as your friend to say, oh, don't go online with that. As long as you go to the same, just go to your email and eBay, you're probably all right.
Yeah. That's pretty much what I do with it. There's nothing else that, I don't go looking at anything exotic or worldwide looking.
You don't start surfing around. The thing is, if a site's, it won't be eBay, because eBay, they've got a lot of protections on there for good reason. That's but you might go to read the news somewhere, and that site got hacked, and you didn't know it, they didn't know it, and you got a drive-by. Okay. We call that a drive-by infection.
Like Yahoo and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, Yahoo's not notoriously secure. If you really want to do that stuff, I'd go out and honestly get a Chromebook. Same price as a netbook, $200, but much more secure. Yeah.
And that would be much more updated.
Much more secure. Yeah. Say again?
Just destroy this one, or?
Well, you could, one way to see if it how it works is to upgrade it. See if it works okay. It might work fine, in which case it'd be secure.
Okay. Yeah, it's pretty handy. It really is. It's like 8x10.
I still have the first netbook right behind me. It's an Asus E PC. It was the first one.
Looking at those too.
Yeah. But now what's really replaced those in that price range and quality too, frankly, are Chromebooks. And in fact, Asus makes a lot of really nice Chromebooks. They're better screens, better trackpad, better keyboard, faster processor. And the nice thing about a Chromebook these days is it's secure.
Okay, good. I will check into both.
Yeah, for most people, that's my recommendation. That's the easiest way to do what you talked about. But you could, so when you're on eBay, you're using a credit card. The worst case scenario is
I sell. I don't.
Oh, you sell?
eBay. Yeah,
I think I think it's all right. Just don't start browsing around on it. Use something else for that.
Good advice. Thank you.
My pleasure. I'm not one of those tech people who says, "Oh, you got to have the latest Intel, AMD, Ryzen, Threadripper, 18 gigs of RAM." I'm not one of those people. I mean, that's what I would get. But I understand, for me, this is a profession. This is what I do. I love it. And, of course, it's worth it for me. This is my hobby, too. But a lot of people just want a Toyota sedan to drive a Celica. I just need to get from here to there. And that's fine. My only concern always is, you got to do it securely because you want to protect yourself. And that would be the only concern. If you don't think it's, if you think it's fast enough and usable, it's certainly compact. You can, but I have to say, nowadays everybody has replaced that netbook. Boy, that gave Microsoft and the PC industry chills for a long. The netbook. Oh man, what a mistake we made. But Chromebooks are basically the netbooks of the 2020s. 8888 Ask Leo. The Giz Wiz coming up in 15 minutes. More of your calls, too. Stay right here. Oh, we're doing summertime songs. I figured that out. Thank you, Lady Laura. I'm Professor. I upgraded her. Professor Laura, our musical director. A little summertime in the city. Line 4 is Ed in Santa Maria, California. Hi, Ed.
Good evening. Good afternoon, sir. Long-time listener. Really enjoy your show tremendously.
Well, I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks for hanging on.
I've got a question. I've got some old 8mm movies that I converted to digital format.
Oh, good.
And then put them on a 8 gigabyte USB key. Now, my question is, some of I'm going to send to my family members.
Nice.
Some of them have only Apple products, and I understand that I need some kind of a converter to do something like that. What is your recommendation?
So there's two issues going on here. First of all, they have to be able to read that USB key. You made it on Windows machine. As long as you made it, in fact, if it's not too late, I would go back and format it, not with the current Windows file system, NTFS. Some Macs can read NTFS, but not all. But if you format it with FAT32 or exFAT, the older file system, the Mac will be able to read it no problem. So that's step one. A lot of times when you buy USB keys, by the way, they are formatted in a form that's compatible with Windows and Mac because they're selling them to both markets. So if you didn't reformat, you're probably okay.
No, I did reformat with NTFS.
Yeah, you don't want NTFS, yeah.
Okay.
And then the second issue is going to be what form that file's in, whether they'll be able to play it. Macs can play back almost any video file except WMV, the Windows media format. What format is the video in?
I think it is a WMV. No, it's MP4. I'm sorry.
MP4, no problem. That's a modern standard that Macs can read just as well as Windows. So as long as the Mac, and by the way, most Macs can read NTFS, but you don't know for sure that they can. So that's why I'd say use something that's you're guaranteed. And then normally, if they have an MP4 on a disk they can read, they just double-click it. It'll launch something that they can play it, depending on what they have on their machine. QuickTime, everybody has QuickTime. Probably that's what it'll launch. And it'll play back.
All right. Now, what if the person only has an iPhone?
Oh, that's another matter, because they obviously can't plug that USB key in.
Exactly.
So the best thing to do for that is to upload that movie to YouTube.
Oh.
And really, then you wouldn't have to mail keys to anybody anyway. You can put movies on YouTube that are private. They don't have to be publicly viewable. And you'll see in the settings, one of the choices will be private, but anybody with the link can view it. Well, those links, if you look at them, they're pretty random. So you should be able to just put it on YouTube and send the link, email the link. Might be the easiest thing of all. And then they can guarantee watch it on anything.
Gotcha. So just actually convert it to... Now,
upload it to YouTube. Do you have a YouTube account?
No, I do not.
Do you have a Google account?
Yes.
Then you have a YouTube account. So because it's all the same. So you log into YouTube with your Google account, and you'll have a page. You can mess with it, make it a more memorable name, put the videos there. It doesn't take a long time. What takes a while after you upload the videos, there'll be a few minutes while Google is churning on them, because what it does, this is exactly what you want. It converts it into dozens of different formats depending on what kind of device is loading it. So it'll have a format that's just right for the iPhone, the Android device, a Macintosh, whatever, a TV set. And that's the beauty of YouTube, is they're doing those conversions so that it's completely compatible with anything. As long as they have YouTube on it, and everything has YouTube, they can watch it.
Excellent. So now just to take that MP4 and load it to YouTube and then we'll work out?
Yep, they like MP4s. That's the format they prefer.
Excellent. Thank you so much. That'll be a big help, and all my relatives will really be looking forward to it.
Oh, that's what I do if I want to share video. It's so much easier to send a link. And now you have a nice 8 gig USB key you can use for backup.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Leo.
My pleasure. YouTube's a miracle if you think about it. It's no charge. And, you'd think, well, they want to, you should make it public, right? Because they're going to make money on you if it's something everybody watches. But you don't even have to make it public. It's kind of like a service. And the video's safe there, I mean, I always use YouTube if you can. And there are other choices. There's Vimeo, which is not free, sort of free. They have paid accounts as well as free accounts. It's a good choice, too. But, YouTube is, everybody understands YouTube. And if they don't, there'll be a kid around that does. They can just say, hey, Sonny, come here. Show me how to play this video. Ted in Los Angeles, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hey, Ted. I think you're muted.
Yes.
Oh, there he is. Hey, Ted.
Oh, thanks for your expertise. You're making everybody's weekend.
Oh, aren't you sweet? Thank you.
And on a previous show, you discussed an agency that helps with a domain name, and I didn't catch.
You want to get a custom domain name, Ted?
Yes, please.
Yeah, that's a great idea. It's this is a not a black diamond. This is kind of a middle ground, a little more geeky, but I think you'll be able to do it without any problem, and you'll feel good about it. The idea here is if we go to a registrar, and you probably are familiar with some of them, GoDaddy spends millions every year to make sure their name is known, so they're a registrar. Google has its own domain registry, so if you Google domains, for instance, you can go there, and you can search. First thing to do is search for domains. So you want TED.com. I think that's probably taken, but you might be a variation of that, maybe your last name. You can just search there, right there from Google Domains, domains.google.com. And then once you find a domain you like, it's usually around $10 a year. It's fairly inexpensive. Some of them are more expensive. Like I can get TED.movie is available, but it's $320 a year. So maybe not worth TED.movie, maybe not worth it. TED.com is taken, TED.net. TED.golf is available. Do you play golf?
No, I hated golf.
Then don't get that.
My mom sent me to the country club, and I hated every minute of it.
How do you like farming? TED.farm is available.
My last name is New Farmer.
Oh, there you go. Maybe that's perfect. Or TED.fan is available, TED.site. Some of the more fancy ones, like those, are more expensive. In fact, if you wanted TED.host for some reason, that's $3,240 a year. Not worth it. TED.store, $1,000 a year. But you could find other names, and the .coms are usually around $10 a year. Once you've got that, though, it doesn't do anything unless you attach something to it. So if it's just email, you can set it up with an email company. One of the advantages of going through GoDaddy is they do email for a fee, obviously, but you could register the domain there and have email go to that. So for a lot of people, that's why GoDaddy's so big. They do hosting, they do mail, they do the registration of the name as well. You can do it all in one spot. So maybe that's probably, for you, a simpler choice. Just to GoDaddy.com, search for the name you want, register it, and at that point they'll say, oh, good, you want us to host email at that address? And you can say yes. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, the Giz Wiz, coming up.
Yeah.
Do you do the dance?
Yeah.
The great Gloria Gaynor, I will survive. And that, my friends, is Dick DeBartolo. He is a survivor. More than 5 decades at Mad Magazine, one of Mad's maddest writer, and the Giz Wiz on our show. He's our gizmo wizard. And before I did Live with Regis and Kelly, you know, Regis passed away, I'm sad to say, at the age of 88 yesterday, one of the greats in television. Before I did Live with Regis and Kelly, you were a regular doing the same thing, the gadget guy on Live with Regis and Kathy Lee.
Exactly. And then I went off to Good Morning America, and it was very funny.
Let me have his job, which was very nice of you.
Exactly.
Very nice of you.
Yeah.
So,
And then-
do you have any Regis memories? Because I loved Regis. Didn't you love Regis?
He was just, the funny thing is one day he called me up to his office and he said, you work for Goodson Todman? I said, yeah. He said, so should I do Family Feud? I said, well, look, Regis asking me?
He was a very down-to-earth, normal guy for such a big star.
Yes. Also, one day, you know, I had a local cable show in Jersey for a while. And I asked Michael, in the opening credits, can I do a couple of little shots of Regis and I? And he said, no, I don't think that. And Regis had me walking by, and I explained, you know, I was looking to use some shots of you and I. He said, give me a piece of paper, write down whatever Dick wants to do, shots that include me, anything from the morning show. He has totally my permission. So, and he signed it. So I got to use it. Yeah, he was a wonderful person.
He's very down to earth. Big fan of. You were up in his office, so you know he's a big fan of the Notre Dame football. He had even a Notre Dame chair. I noticed. I was looking at the video.
Yes.
Helmet and he was he was a New Yorker through and through. He in fact lived across the street from the studio.
And he had a studio, a restaurant close by for a while.
Did he really? Regis?
Yes. Him and Nureyev, I think, 2 very unlikely people to be in the restaurant business.
Rudolph Nureyev, the ballet dancer, Regis Philbin, the TV star.
Yes.
And I don't know what kind of food you're going to get.
It was like comfort food. It was a fun place.
He lived a rich life. His wife of 50 years, Joy, by his side every moment. And as I said, and I put the video in the show notes, but I taught him how to tweet back in 2011.
I remember that.
And the thing that I'll never forget is he was like a kid in a candy store because they started tweeting back at him. And I'll never forget, he immediately picked up the phone and said, Joy, you got to see this. They're tweeting me. So, Regis, you're a big star. There are 4 million people watched you do your show an hour ago, and you're excited because 20 people are tweeting you. He was just a great guy. That's Regis in a nutshell.
That was super.
What do you have for us today?
Leo, with this hot weather, I have a great thing for parents to buy their kids. It's very inexpensive. It's called a splash pad. So it's almost 6 feet in diameter. You hook a garden hose to it, and the ring inflates. And once the ring inflates, it starts shooting water up. So the kids can dance. Yeah, well, the pool area traps water 2 to 3 inches, so they can sit in it and splash around.
Oh, it's a pool with a sprinkler in it.
Yes, exactly. All the way around.
Did you get in this thing?
No, I didn't get in it. I set it up. But the reason I knew it was a big hit is my neighbor bought a big inflatable pool, and he's out there like 2 times a week with a giant compressor filling it up. Yeah, and the kids, it's big enough for them probably to swim a little bit in it. Anyway, the kids were walking by and they looked over the fence and they go, "Oh my God, Daddy, look at the water sprinkling. Can
we go play at the Giz Wiz?
Yeah, and I paid like $25 for mine. He probably paid several hundred for his, but there's also a little video there.
This would be for little kids, like 3, 4, 5, 6.
Like 3, exactly, 3 to 5.
Okay.
And it's just a way to stay cool and to have fun. And then you adjust the height of the sprinkler by adjusting the garden hose.
Oh, nice. So they turn it on higher and then it goes up higher. It's not exactly the Bellagio fountains, but if you turned on some music.
Yeah. Well, the little company video is a bit better with the kids dancing around in it.
I like your video.
Also, I have that hose hooked up to my bathroom sink, so there was not a tremendous amount.
Not a surge of water flowing forth.
Yeah. And I love how companies don't want to take any chances. On the box, it says, no diving.
No diving. It's about 1 inch deep.
It like defeated the whole purpose. I was going to put it under my spouse's
so he could
bedroom,
jump out the window.
Yes, exactly.
Sure.
There's one floor up, and then we could, do belly flops.
No diving.
I noticed today it's down to $22. I paid $26 or $28.
Oh, nice.
But it's great fun for kids.
Perfect time.
Dreadful weather.
The name of the company is QPAU?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who knows?
QPOW, but not that. QPAU sprinkler playmat, and not expensive. A perfect time of the year to have it. That's what's so great about it.
Did you like your lamp?
I got 4 of them. I love them. This was the clip-on gooseneck lamp you talked about a couple of weeks ago, or maybe it was last week. I don't know. I got it right away.
It was last week.
Yeah. I love it.
Okay, next week I'll tell you about a better one.
Oh, crud.
Now, like yesterday, I got an email from Amazon. Since you like that lamp, we're introducing this lamp.
About being friends with Dick is you spend a lot of money. GizWiz.biz, that's his website, GIZWIZ.biz. You can see, click the button that says Giz Wiz is the tech guy. He still does World News Now. So you can at ABC, so you can see his visits there. This is a great site. There's the What the Heck Is It contest, a chance to win an autographed copy of Mad Magazine by identifying the giant blue button. All of that at GizWiz.biz. His podcast, GizWiz.tv, is wonderful. Still doing that, right?
Going on in February next year. It is, Leo, it's 15 years.
You're doing that longer than you did Regis and Kathy Lee.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And after 6 years, I told my producer at Live, my contract is over. Good Morning America, you're not allowed to appear on Regis.
They wouldn't, even though they're both ABC, they wouldn't let you do it.
Right. And I said, David, just tell Michael, I'm not looking for work, just tell Michael. And David called me 2 weeks later, he said, I'm embarrassed to say what Michael said. I said,
Michael, you're talking about Michael Gelman, the executive producer.
Gelman, yes. Michael Gelman said he would need a demo tape of your work.
He had no idea who you were. No idea.
No, even though I did the show for 6 years.
6 years, no idea. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I did it. I think I did it 10 years. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work. You at least live in New York. I had to fly out.
Oh, unbelievable.
Yeah, it was a lot of work.
Speaking of great guys in show business, you are one of them. You are really...
When I die, will you say something nice, please, for me?
No, I'd rather say it now when you can be embarrassed.
Regis knows I loved him. He was very private. Never had a meal with him or anything like that. He was a very private guy. But I never wanted to encroach on that. I just felt privileged to get to do that show with him. And Kelly, too.
Absolutely.
I love Kella Rippus. She was great.
Sweet man.
Thank you, Dickie D. Another sweet man. GizWiz.biz. All right? Have a great one. All right, take care. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Have a great Geek Week. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, TWiT, TWiT. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on MacBreak Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.